To prepare for the Tragedy of Carmen, what I've done is I read the short story, which gave me a really good sense of the character of Don Jose, who's a really passionate, emotional, and jealous guy who gets all caught up in his emotions and commits some heinous crimes.
Carmen takes what people might see as a means to degrade her and uses it as a way to empower herself. She's saying, all right, these are the tools you're going to give me. These are all the tools you're going to give me. Fine, I'll use them to win over you. So she's just extraordinarily resourceful, and I'm trying to figure out more and more what those tools are.
Well, like any good singer, I've spent a lot of time with the score. I'm going over the text. I think that's really where most opera stems from, is the text. But in addition to doing all of that, I've had to take a crash course in what it means to be a bullfighter. This is my first escamillo. I've done a lot of work there, looking at all of the YouTube clips I can find and doing a little online research as well. But in addition to that, not just figuring out why we're doing Carmen, but why we're doing the Tragedy of Carmen, I've gone to the Peter Brook sort of thesis, An Empty Space, The Empty Space, I should say, and have read through his sort of ideas about what it means to be a director. And from that, I've gotten a lot of, the immediacy of theater is really what he considered important. So I think it's really important that we're doing this work in English, because it leads to the audience having a really close connection to us rather than a distancing by using a foreign language.
At risk of sounding super cliche, I feel like I've been preparing for this for like years, because it was my first opera at the Kennedy Center, and it's what sort of sparked my interest, like, oh my gosh, people do this, and this is a living. You know, of course I was obsessed with the role of Carmen at that point, but when I was that young I didn't know what voice types were. So I wanted to be Carmen, and that didn't happen, because I'll be playing Micaela, the antithesis of Carmen, which is super exciting for me, because I actually find a lot of similarities between myself and Micaela, in that she's a very religious woman and she finds her strength in God, because I don't think that she's this Madonna of a woman that people make her out to be. Julie and I have talked about how she's quite fierce. She's very strong.
Tragedy of Carmen is the antithesis of everything that scares people about opera. If people think of opera as this thing that's elitist and stuffy and reserved and totally at a remove from their ordinary life, Carmen is and was written and intended by Bizet to be the most dirty, visceral, human experience that he could possibly get onto stage in polite Parisian society.
It's such a great story. It's a timeless story, which people can relate to. It's more like a thriller, because it's got really good elements of, you know, you got some mystery, you got some dark stuff going on, you got, you know, some sexy scenes, some violent scenes, all the good stuff that people usually can relate from going to the movies or watching a crime show on TV.